Welcome, focused learners. If you're looking to grasp complex, real-world events quickly and clearly, you're in exactly the right place. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to guide you through a fascinating, bizarre, and genuinely historic piece of sporting history. We're looking at an unprecedented event that unfolded on the global stage at the 2026 World Cup. It's a story about a split-second decision, a massive institutional shift, and a brand new rule that's literally changing the very fabric of the world's most popular sport.
Okay, let's dive into this. Sent off for a hand? Now in football, or soccer, depending on where you're watching from, you'd usually think of a handball, right? But I want you to imagine an elite player competing in the biggest tournament on earth being instantly ejected from the match simply for bringing his own hand up to touch his own face. It sounds absolutely absurd, like an epic refereeing mistake, right? But as you'll see, this was no mistake. It was a strict, uncompromising application of a controversial new law.
Section 1. A historic World Cup red. To understand exactly how we arrived at this mind-boggling moment, let's drop right into the chaos. Picture this. It's June 19th, 2026. We are at Levi's Stadium in California, and under the blazing sun, the tension is palpable. This is a crucial Group D clash. Survival in the tournament is literally on the line. Paraguay has remarkably scraped together a 1-0 lead. But as we enter first-half stoppage time, a reckless challenge near the center circle acts like a tripwire. The players clash. A massive, heated melee erupts right there on the pitch. Both teams are pushing, shoving, and tempers are flaring completely out of control.
And right in the middle of this chaos, we get the flashpoint. Paraguayan star Miguel Almirón is seen speaking to Turkish defender Mert Müldür. But as he speaks, Almirón brings his hand up and partially covers his mouth. Müldür doesn't even wait to process the words. He just immediately turns and appeals to the official standing right next to him. The match comes to a paralyzing standstill. The video assistant referee, VAR, intervenes. El Salvadoran referee Iván Barton jogs over to the pitchside monitor, takes one single look at the footage showing the covered mouth, marches back onto the field, and pulls out a straight red card. Almirón is sent off. The stadium is completely stunned. It is the very first time in World Cup history that a player is ejected for this specific offense.
Section 2. Unpacking the Vinicius Rule.
So to understand the origin of this rule, we actually have to treat this like a bit of a flashback and look at the months preceding the World Cup. The speed of this institutional response is truly staggering. You know, in the world of international sports governance, rules usually take years to change. But look at this timeline. February 2026, a major incident occurs in the Champions League. Just 2 months later, in April, the International Football Association Board, the group that literally writes the laws of the game, holds a special meeting in Vancouver to pass a new law. And by June 2026, it's enforced at the World Cup, resulting in Almirón's red card. That is 3 months from catalyst to global enforcement. Talk about moving fast.
Let's detail that dark catalyst from February. During a super tense Champions League match between Benfica and Real Madrid, Argentinic winger Gianluca Prestianni squared up to Real Madrid superstar Vinícius Júnior. Prestianni pulled his shirt up over his mouth while speaking to him. Now, after the match, Vinícius accused Prestianni of hurling severe racist abuse at him, calling him a coward for hiding behind his jersey. Prestianni denied the racist allegations, and because his mouth was covered, cameras and lip readers couldn't definitively prove what was said. Prestianni was eventually punished for homophobic conduct, but that lack of absolute proof, all because of the covered mouth, sparked a massive global controversy.
Section 3. The fight against racism. This incredibly ugly incident forced the sport's governing bodies into a corner, resulting in a stark, aggressive institutional response. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what they did. The IFAB law amendment states, any player covering their mouth in a confrontational situation with an opponent may be sanctioned with a red card. That's it. No warnings, no requirement to actually prove what was said. The sheer act of obscuring your lips during a confrontation is now an ejectable offense. The objective here is total transparency. Cameras and microphones must be able to capture everything during a dispute to definitively combat racism.
Section 4. The presumption of guilt.
Implementing a rule like this isn't just a simple technical adjustment. It actually represents a massive clash of philosophies. On one side, we have FIFA President Gianni Infantino, who really championed this hardline stance. His argument basically relies on the presumption of guilt, that the act of hiding implies offensive intent, and a severe deterrent is required to protect players. But on the other side, we have legendary manager José Mourinho, who happened to be Benfica's boss during the original incident. While promising severe consequences if his player was proven guilty, Mourinho fiercely defended the presumption of innocence. He argued that due process just cannot be discarded as it's a fundamental human right. Now, we aren't here to pick a side, but it is absolutely vital to understand the profound philosophical friction this new rule creates. Let's look a little closer at Infantino's rationale, since he was the primary architect of the rule. He said, if you don't have something to hide, you don't hide your mouth when you say something. That's it. As simple as that. He essentially wants to completely eradicate the culture of players covering their mouths to scheme, insult, or evade lip readers. For FIFA, the fight against discrimination supersedes the traditional habits of the players. The pitch must be a completely open book.
Section 5. Changing football's essence.
But taking this high-minded philosophy and dropping it right onto the turf of a hyper-competitive World Cup match has immediate, brutal consequences. 45+. Because Miguel Almirón covered his mouth in stoppage time of the first half, his Paraguayan teammates were forced to play more than 45 minutes of the second half completely outmanned. Under the brutal California sun, they had to mount a heroic, physically exhausting low-block defense to protect their 1-0 lead against a Turkish side that held 79% possession. They actually managed to survive, securing a truly legendary victory, but the toll was enormous.
The broader ramifications of that single gesture just cascaded through the tournament. First, the player's sanction. Almirón, who is Paraguay's most creative attacking outlet, is automatically suspended for their do-or-die group stage finale against Australia. Second, it adds to a shockingly high disciplinary record. Believe it or not, this was the 7th red card of the tournament, reflecting this massive new era of strict enforcement. And finally, the standings. As one Australian analyst noted, this is fantastic news for the Socceroos. Their chances of knockout qualification are heavily boosted by Paraguay losing their star player. All of that because of a hand over a mouth.
So the crucial point is perfectly summarized by Paraguay's coach Gustavo Alfaro after the match. He didn't actually dispute the referee's application of the law, but he offered this really interesting warning. I fear we are too strict and football loses its essence. In football, there's frictions, fights, clashes. He's voicing a very real concern here. In an effort to sanitize the sport and root out terrible behavior like racism, authorities might accidentally be legislating away the raw, emotional, natural friction that makes the game exactly what it is.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative question. Will this strict new rule, the Vinicius Rule, ultimately save football's soul by stamping out the cowardly hiding of abuse? Or will the presumption of guilt and the heavy-handed policing of player behavior destroy the natural, passionate essence of the sport? It's a debate that is really only just beginning, and it is actively reshaping the game right before our eyes. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious, keep analyzing the facts, and I'll catch you in the next deep dive.